the main one I want to talk about is the various exercises we do from a sit to stand perspective. So we have to stand up quite a lot throughout the day, but do we use it as exercise? And that's what I wanted to go through. So if you don't mind popping your hand there, wonderful. You must have heard of a tricep dip, where you've got your hand and you lift up and down. This is essentially what we're doing here in terms of using your hands. All I'm going to ask you to do is try and just lift your bottom off the chair and lower back down again using your arms. So hands by your side, lift your bottom up. Oh, look at you. Right, most people won't be able to do that. That's impressive. Most people that I train will just about get their bottom. They may not even get it off the chair. It's just enough to engage those muscles and lift and get that bottom somewhat off the chair. Often I find that when they sit comfortably, this is a lovely chair, but if you think about a sofa that sinks in at the back, it's putting them in the wrong posture, and just that lift and practicing that lift will allow them to try and maneuver in the chair. So you could lift and come forwards a little bit, you can lift and shuffle left or right. Depends if they're wheelchair bound, it depends if they've got walkers or they're walking on their own steam. So that's one, is just lifting, engaging, coming back down again. The next one, if I don't mind, if you just come forward a little bit.
How many reps would you are you aiming for?
So
how many sets?
That depends on each person.
Sure.
I would test it with them.
Yeah.
5 tends to be a right sort of a starting point. Sometimes it's not even 5. 10 seems to be the max I will do, and then I'll get them to repeat it again. And
they're just holding that hold for a second or so?
Ideally about 5 seconds, if they can. If nothing else, if it comes to sort of MS and Parkinson's, initiating the movement sometimes is enough just to get the signals going, and sometimes the movement doesn't happen after the first or second reps, but third and fourth one it will start to kick in. So the next one is when your bottom's forward. Actually, you're in the correct position there. Do you want to take your legs out?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, most people when they're sat, their legs are out in front of them. You're going to struggle to stand up efficiently that way. So it's popping your legs back to where you're tucking them under as much as possible, feet flat on the ground. You've shuffled forward, so you're as close to the edge as possible. Wonderful. Nose over toes. And now you're going to propel yourself up into a standing position. Good. Beautifully done. Nice and tall. Tuck your hips in. This is a very good example of how it should be done. When people have got fatigue, when they've got neurological conditions, it gets to the point where they'll get halfway and that's enough, and then they'll sit back down again. So can you sit back down again? So when I'd like you to stand up, half stand up if that's all right. Hands stand up halfway through, pause. That might be enough. I would call this, you're using your quad muscles. Can you feel that there? You can feel that all engaging. Can you feel that all in your arm? And you're probably working the core as well. So all of a sudden you've got your arms working there, you've got your tummies working there, and you've also got your legs working there just by trying to do half a stand. So when you stand up fully, and then I ask you to stand up 10 times, that suddenly becomes quite a difficult but full body exercise. When it comes to EDS and fibromyalgia, particularly EDS with hypermobility, you've got to make sure the posture's in the right place. It has got to be in the right place. And with hypermobility, they can probably do the movement endlessly and take their arm back where it's not normal, but we don't want that. We want it where it should be sitting, and try and get them to stay in that position. Does that make sense?
It's interesting because I spend a lot of time looking at sit to stand as it's a predictor. You know, it's a predictor of falls and longevity and pain and stuff like this. But I haven't really thought about it as an exercise. It's more of a test in my head, but actually it makes sense.
I use it as an exercise, and often it will start with the sitting tolerance, then the lift, then the half lift, and then into a full stand.